In 1848, the British Empire was addicted to a single product, spending nearly 10% of its entire national revenue on it. China held a monopoly so absolute that revealing its production secrets was punishable by death. To break this stranglehold, the East India Company didn't hire a general or a diplomat, they hired a gardener. This is the story of the greatest corporate heist in history, the multi-billion-dollar industrial theft of the tea plant. Today, tea is a humble beverage, but in the 19th century, it was the world's most valuable intellectual property. The British East India Company, the most powerful corporation to ever exist, was facing a terminal financial crisis. They were hemorrhaging silver to the Qing dynasty and desperately needed to shift production to their own territories in India. The problem was that the source code for tea was a state secret, and no Westerner knew how to process the leaves. Enter Robert Fortune, a Scottish botanist who would become the world's most successful industrial spy. To understand the scale of this crime, you have to follow the money. By the 1840s, the British trade deficit with China was so massive, it threatened to bankrupt the treasury. China accepted only silver for tea, forcing the British to sell illegal opium just to balance the books. Even after the First Opium War, the British realized that controlling the ports wasn't enough. They had to own the production. Previous attempts to grow tea in India had been disasters, resulting in plants that tasted like bitter hay. They lacked the specific varieties of Camellia sinensis and the secret knowledge of the complex fermentation process. The company needed a spy who could identify the best plants and survive the lawless, forbidden interior of China. Robert Fortune was a rugged Scotsman who had to disappear to succeed. In 1848, he arrived in Shanghai and performed a radical transformation to bypass Qing authorities. He donned Mandarin robes and hired local guides to help him pose as a high-ranking official from a distant province. This disguise allowed him to move through forbidden tea districts and ask questions without raising suspicion. Deep in the interior, Fortune discovered a secret worth millions. Green and black tea actually came from the exact same plant. The difference was entirely in the processing, a piece of industrial intelligence that would change the global economy forever. Stealing the seeds was only half the battle. The real challenge was keeping them alive on a 4-month voyage. Fortune utilized the Wardian case, a cutting-edge 19th century glass terrarium designed for long-distance transport. However, his first massive shipment turned into a total financial catastrophe. Out of 13,000 seeds sent in the first batch, a staggering 12,920 died before reaching India. An overzealous official had opened the cases to examine them, accidentally killing the delicate cargo. The East India Company was losing patience. If the next attempt failed, the multi-million-dollar gamble would be over. Fortune realized he didn't just need the seeds, he needed the human capital behind the industry. In 1851, he committed high treason by recruiting a team of expert Chinese tea farmers to defect to India. He smuggled out over 20,000 tea plants, but this time, he planted the seeds inside the cases during the voyage. By the time the ships reached the Himalayas, the seeds had transformed into healthy, vibrant saplings. He had successfully transplanted the backbone of the Chinese economy into British soil, effectively stealing an entire nation's industry. The economic impact was immediate and devastating for the Qing dynasty. Within decades, Indian tea, built on Fortune's stolen plants, became the dominant force in the global market. This theft fueled the century of humiliation for China, shattering their monopoly and destabilizing their economy. Today we call this intellectual property theft. Back then, the East India Company simply called it enterprise. Robert Fortune died a wealthy man, but his name has been largely scrubbed from the history books. Yet every time you drink a cup of Darjeeling or Assam, you are tasting the spoils of the greatest heist ever recorded. Was Robert Fortune a hero of science or a corporate criminal? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the dark side of business history, hit the like button and subscribe for more untold stories. Thanks for watching. Check out our next video on the Great Diamond Heist appearing on your screen now.